Hello, welcome to this webinar. Will the advisory intro package work for me? I'm Peter Towers, founder and managing director of ESS BIZTOOLS. If you have any questions during this webinar, can you please type your question into chat and I'll answer it later in the webinar. Or if you're watching this webinar at a later time, something that might be more suitable for you, time-wise, and you have a question, please send me an email, peter@essbiztools.com.au, and I will get back to you. Is presenting advisory services a good move for your firm? Yes, you will be delivering real accounting services throughout the year. The former Taxation Commissioner, Chris Jordan, who was a former partner of KPMG, so he knew something about accountancy firms, even though he'd worked for a big four firm and probably was not dealing day to day with SMEs like most of the people who we talk to are. But nevertheless, he had a real understanding of the accounting industry. He issued a warning to the accountancy and bookkeeping professions 2.5 years ago at Xerocon 2022. And he said work requirements will drop off because of the tax office uptake of technology. If your business model was high volume, low margin, and focused on simple tax returns, it will not be viable in 3 to 5 years' time, is what he said. Two and a half years have elapsed since he made that comment. Mr. Jordan urged accountants and bookkeepers to diversify their offerings and focus on becoming a brilliant and trusted advisor. Last week, I attended the Accountants Daily AI webinar series, and a keynote speaker was Mark Wickersham, a chartered accountant from Sydney, who has created an international reputation as a value pricing academy consultant. And he's a special consultant for ChatGPT. So he knew a lot about AI. And one of the comments he made in his presentation was, compliance work as we know it today will disappear before the end of this decade. And then he made a comment, and it might happen earlier. Compliance work as we know it today will disappear before the end of this decade. So we have the tax commissioner, or now the former tax commissioner, and a former partner of KPMG, a top four firm, saying there's dramatic changes on the way and that accountants should reposition themselves. And here we have a gentleman who in 1999 was running his own accountancy firm in Sydney and then decided to make some changes, and he became far more interested in value pricing. He's saying something very similar. Compliance work as we know it today will disappear before the end of this decade. Mr. Wickham indicated that the key question for accountants is, how can we create more value? Accountants need to deliver more value services, he said. So my question to you is, are you offering the services now which will remain viable from the end of this decade? Because both Chris Jordan and Mark Wickersham are talking about the same sort of time period. In the next 3 to 5 years, changes are going to occur. And Mark Wickersham obviously believed, if you have the ability to watch his recording, I would recommend it, that it's going to occur beforehand. Are you offering the services now which will remain viable until and remain viable from the end of this decade? So that means by the time the Brisbane Olympic Games In 2032 come around, these two experts are saying there's going to be dramatic changes in accountancy services. And quite frankly, I think it's occurring now, or it should be occurring now, because you're not going to be able to suddenly just change over if you haven't done some pre-preparation. Advisory services are different, but they're what thousands of accountants who went to university the same as accountants in public practice undertook the professional years and go to the institutes and other organisations' professional development courses. But in their role, working for larger corporations, they get involved in a whole range of advisory services which are needed by our SME clients. So the Financial Commercial Management Accounting Advisory Services package, which ESS BIZTOOLS has developed, will give your firm the support services to assist your firm's long-term viability by offering a range of business-enhancing advisory services to your clients. To be honest, I've seen this emerging over many years. It's over 40 years since the Financial Management Research Centre commenced at the University of New England. One of the joint founders of that organisation was Andrew Geddes, who went on to become a very well-known accountancy industry consultant and commentator, and became the chair for 10 years of an ASX top 200 company that he originally advised 35 years ago in the development of their strategies. They become an Australian-wide veterinary service firm and pet food business, Green Cross Limited. And Andrew Geddes all along has been saying accountants must make the changes that the whole philosophy of the Financial Management Research Centre related to, and was agreed to by the Institute of Chartered Accountants and the Australian Society of Accountants, now the CPAs, 40 years ago, that accountants had to broaden their range of services beyond taxation, because the taxation return does not help your clients run their businesses. So will these outcomes be beneficial to your firm? Yes, you will have happy clients because you will be offering them improved financial commercial advisory services, which will assist SMEs to survive the difficult conditions in the marketplace. They will understand what is happening more than what they do at present. SMEs are looking for more than just tax returns. They want strategic insights that help them survive and grow. But many accountants and bookkeepers don't have the right tools or structures in place to offer these services efficiently. And that's why we have the products available for you. Another significant benefit is that your team members will be happy because they will be participating in the delivery of interesting and challenging work, thus contributing to one of the major problems affecting accountancy firms, the attraction and retention of talent. Every time I talk to accountants in public practice, I hear about the problems of retaining their talent. And I ask them, well, what sort of services are you offering? And generally I hear BAS returns, tax returns, superannuation advice, investment planning. As important as all that is not helping your client run their business. Their client needs financial information daily, weekly, monthly, and repeated daily, weekly, monthly. They want to be able to react at least on a weekly basis to any deviation from what they expected in their financial performance so that they can correct it, so it doesn't continue to occur week after week and then get told by their accountant 6 or 7 months after the end of the financial year that, gee, your gross profit dropped this year. We thought it'd be up around 38%, and it's only 23, 24%. And when you go back and have a look at it, if you're able to do that, you might find the problem occurred in week 1, but it's continued because it wasn't identified. It wasn't fixed. It continued on for the rest of the financial year and then for 6 or 7 months into the next financial year. That's not advice. That's not helping your SME clients survive. If you think that's the right service for your clients, I'm afraid that I can't help you at ESS BIZTOOLS because that's not the philosophy we are approaching in trying to help the SME clients. So what is the solution? It's not to ignore it. ESS BIZTOOLS has developed a wide range of ready-to-use business advisory services tools. These resources give you the templates and strategies so that you can deliver high-value services without having to reinvent the wheel. We've done that. And I did it because quite a number of years ago now, following the introduction that I had to the Financial Management Research Centre, I tried to buy some systems similar to what FMRC were talking about. In fact, I thought FMRC would have them for sale. That's what I expected. But they didn't. The answer I got from Andrew Geddes was, oh, Peter, you'll have to develop your own. So we did. We developed our own. And we've continued to modify it and develop it. And it's now known as ESS BIZTOOLS. So you don't have to spend a few thousand, probably in our case, 8,000 or 9,000 hours on the development of the material. You pay us a small subscription and you can immediately start earning income and servicing your clients. So some people ask me, how quickly will all this work? We want an ROI. We want that return on investment. And I can understand that. Well, let me go through and share where I think you can get started. And it starts with, first of all, you have to communicate to your clients that you're able to help them. Because for many of you, your client thinks that you're an expert at taxation, but that's all you do, because that's basically the only service you've offered them. In fact, you may have knocked them back on some issues. You may have told them that you couldn't help them with a grant application, or that you couldn't help them with getting ready to try to raise capital as a crowdsourced funding equity raising company, or that you weren't prepared to offer assistance on research and development tax rebate applications and processes. So the starting point to get that communication open is some marketing assistance. And we do that for our subscribers. Each month we produce a newsletter, which we call the Business Plus newsletter. It's 4 A4 pages. And it has between 4 to 6 articles in each edition. And we send it to our subscribers. In fact, we upload it to our website. Our subscribers download it, brand it with their name, not the ESS BIZTOOLS name, brand it with their name and send it out to their clients. Our suggestion is that before you do that, though, you've read the articles and said, gee, this could apply to Mary Brown, or gee, Jim Smith might be interested in this. And then 4 to 5 days after you have emailed the Business Plus edition out to your clients, make some phone calls. Bring those people who you particularly noted that they may be very interested in the comment on research and development or the comment on the debtors systems manual, and ask them, did you read that article? Would you like to discuss it with me? Have you got any questions? Yes, we can supply those services. Now, remember, the clients receive the newsletter that's badged with your firm name on it, not ESS BIZTOOLS. We're the mystery writer. The client doesn't need to know any of that. But suddenly your client's saying, gee, my my firm has sent me this document, and obviously they're talking about a range of things excluding taxation. You won't get any much communication on direct taxation issues, other than some of the key ones. I've mentioned one a couple of times already. Research and development. Yes, it's part of the Tax Act. Some accountants get surprised at that, but it is part of the Tax Act. So Business Plus newsletter, 12 times a year. And then there's a couple of extras. Next week, we've got an extra on because we always write an edition of Business Plus for the federal budget as it affects SMEs. We're not worried about the big end of town. We're not worried about defence and so we're worried about what's in the budget for SMEs. So we'll be interested to hear what the federal government has to say on Tuesday night. And we'll be producing a special edition of Business Plus next Wednesday morning. So in each edition, there are articles and there's a call to action. After each of those 4 to 6 articles, there's a little paragraph which says, if you are interested in having a discussion with us about this, please contact the accountant in our organisation that you normally deal with. Now, you can edit the Business Plus. Just go ahead and edit. And if you want to put the name of the person in your organisation who is your champion on that particular subject, whether it's research and development or debtors systems or whatever, put their name in there. That makes it a bit more personal, doesn't it? We have a champion in our firm that can help you with research and development or can help you with setting up a debtor system. So it's a promotional service that is aimed at getting a reaction. And then if you get that reaction, my suggestion is you say to your client, okay, can I come out and have a cup of tea or coffee with you? Or if it's a wee bit later in the afternoon, you might suggest something a wee bit stronger, but that's up to you and your client, of course, but have a discussion. I am very confident that you will come back with more work assignments out of sitting down and talking to your clients about these issues, because I did that for years in dealing with SMEs. Sit down and talk to them and make them realize that you are interested in their position. So what package could you use within a few weeks? A few weeks of signing on with ESS BIZTOOLS, paying your subscription. Well, the first one you could use is the tradie charge-out rate calculator. I think every accounting firm in Australia has got tradies as clients and bookkeeping firms. Have you ever asked your client, your tradie client, how they set their charge-out rates? I have over the years. I've run seminars for tradies and got some strange answers. They listen to what their competitors talking about in the pub. They used to work with one at the business that's now a competitor, so they're just on using their charge-out rates or what they think they are. That's not the way to do it. We need to look at the individual team productivity. We need to look at what the overheads of your client's business are. We need to look at what profit they would like to achieve. And our calculator will calculate that information for you very quickly, and you can bill the client. In fact, we have a special price for the advisory intro package, and I think you would cover that subscription quite easily by undertaking a tradie charge-out rate calculator. So when I tell you the price of this package, the special offer which we have on until Easter, I'm sure you'll agree with me. Just do the sums. Key performance indicators and business metrics. We call it the business health program. We got detailed spreadsheets prepared for you to insert the data, because it's when you look at the data that you see a problem. It stands out like the proverbial. I used that very extensively when I was the chief financial officer in a listed public company. I wanted people to analyze the data, not just prepare it on its own and have it on one sheet of paper, put it into a spreadsheet so we can see what's happening. We're dealing with SME clients who need information to come back to them. So you can start that pretty quick. The debtors management system. If any of you have been watching some of our webinars and perhaps reading our weekly Accountant's Minute, which is available free of charge on our website, you will know that we've been talking about debtors and fiscal management based on an article in the Financial Review in February 2024 that was written by the CEO of MYOB, who indicated that they had conducted a survey of 1,000 of their clients and had identified significant problems with people not understanding debtors management. Now, we didn't write the debtors management system within ESS BIZTOOLS after reading those articles, because we'd had the debtors management system in situ in ESS BIZTOOLS for 26 years, because it was one of our original products. But what we have done is referred to the research that MYOB undertook that found that there was misunderstandings. So the debtors management system is something that's in the system. You've got the packages if you're a subscriber, and away you go. You read it and then you implement it. And there's a debtor systems manual, so we take it one step further. We didn't have that originally. Someone did ring me, an accountant, and said, geez, it'd help if you put all this into a manual so I could put the client's name on it and give it to them. It's a great idea. Thank you. So we did that. Now you can edit that, because I found some people call the cash receipts book the green book or the red book or the blue book or the yellow book. They've color-coded systems. And people don't know what you're talking about when you say the cash receipts book or the sales journal or whatever. So you can do some editing and customize it, personalize it, so that the poor person who's sitting there looking after debtors has got a written system to follow, because it doesn't happen in a lot of businesses. Go into one of your clients, go into half a dozen of your clients tomorrow, next week, and ask to have a look at their debtors system. Because unfortunately, if your concentration has been on the preparation of the tax return, and I can understand that, you probably haven't gone into their office and asked to look at their debtors system. And in fact, I've run into some accountants who tell me they never even look at the debtors. I had one person ask me in a seminar I was conducting on corporate governance, directors' duties, and I mentioned that the directors should have a look at what the debtors' days outstanding was and see how it lined up with the budget. And the lady said, what's the debtors' days outstanding and what should it be? And I had a discussion with her, and I asked her what her role was. Where did she work? And she told me. And what's your role? I'm the office manager. And I said, you don't know what the debtors' days outstanding is? No. Doesn't your accountant ever talk to you about this? No. And when she gave me the figures and I did the calculation, it was 102 days. 102 days. I said, who owns this business? She said, my father. I said, does he ever get cranky? She said, yeah, when the bank manager rings. I said, I can understand why, because you've got a lot of money owed by debtors. She said, I know. But she didn't know the thing called the debtors' days outstanding. I said, who's your accountant? Oh, we got an accountant in the city, a few hours away from here. And I said, oh. So she told me the name. Actually, I knew that particular gentleman. I met him in conferences. And I said, doesn't he raise with you the debtors' days outstanding? Because this figure changed dramatically. Oh, no, it's been around that figure for the last couple of years. I happened to run into that accountant 2 weeks later, just coincidentally. You're in a strange city and you're having a cup of coffee, and who walks in? And he said, oh, I hear you've been talking to a client. And I said, yeah. The daughter, who's the office manager, was at a seminar I was running. I said, I was a bit surprised that she had no idea of debtors' days outstanding, and she told me you'd never talked to her about it. And he said, no, it's not my responsibility. They know. I give them my summary sheet of what I'm going to do, my document. And no, I've never. Did you know it was 102 days? He said, no, I've never calculated it. And unfortunately, this taxation advice blinkers, I think, on a lot of accountants. And I'm sorry to say that, but I'm an accountant. I ran an accounting firm. But we need to remove those blinkers and look broader at what's really going on with our SME clients. They need this information. So I'll leave that to you to think about. But you can be undertaking that work within 1 week of signing on with ESS BIZTOOLS. The research and development introduction package, I think, is very important. Some accountants have said to me over the years, oh, we don't offer research and development advice, Peter. I said, why? And they said, well, you've got to be a scientist or an engineer to give that advice. I said, no, that's wrong. Your role is not to conduct the experiments. That's your client's role. They're the one that believes that they have got something that is potentially could be worth a lot of money, that they want to go down the innovation process. I think your role is more akin to be the internal auditor, because within ESS BIZTOOLS, we have 46 separate forms. We've got 13 flowcharts. We've got 12 individual papers. We've got a whole process in the system. Your role is to make sure that the client is filling the forms that are going to be filled in daily. What are they? Well, they're the timesheets for people who claim they were working on research and development. What have they done? So we've got it all in our system. Your role is to make sure they've all been done and they're assembled so that the return that has to be lodged no later than 10 months after the end of the financial year to Oz Industry can be lodged. And when they've assessed it and they've sent back their report certificate sort of thing, which has got the all-important number on it, that can be included in the company's tax return to be lodged with the tax office. That's your role, not to conduct the research. So I'd suggest that you look at the research and development. And incidentally, what someone else said to me once, I know we only deal with things in the Tax Act. I said, well, that's where the research and development sections are. And he quickly walked away from me in that group discussion. So thousands of SMEs undertake research and development. A lot of them are obviously going to the top 100 or the big 4 firms for advice, because they run into, well, we're not interested, or we're too busy, or we're not scientists or engineers. We can't help you on that from accountants. I don't think that's the right thing. So why not do the sums? And let's go back to looking at the challenges that we've got from what Chris Jordan, the former tax commissioner, was talking about, and what Mark Wickersham was talking about. There are major changes occurring. So how many clients do you think that fit those categories that I've referred to? Let's go through them. How many tradies you got? Now, I know you're not going to sell 100% to every tradie. But when I've done this when I'm actually consulting to accountancy firms, which I do for firms all over Australia, and we say, well, how many tradies have you got? Sometimes we get, oh, not many, but they go away and count it up, and they got 30 or 40 or 50. And I say, well, what hit rate would you get? Oh, and the ones that we've done it with, we end up with 30 to 40%. So suddenly there's 20 tradie clients. And if you affect the full system on servicing tradies, you can probably charge them around $10,000 each a year. One of our subscribers has got 120 tradies. When he started, he had a couple. He heard on the grapevine that we had a charge-out rate calculator and a system built around it. He contacted me and said, is that true? I said, yes. And he started subscribing. He now tells me he's got 120 tradie clients. And he has gone back to them and said, well, we've done the calculations, so that's given us an effective budget, but we should be reviewing the productivity percentages achieved and the overhead costs, et cetera, on a month-by-month basis. So if you need to make some fine-tuning to the charge-out rate calculations, we can do so. And that's aggregated up around $10,000 per annum, in addition to what they were paying for the traditional, just an annual set of accounts and a tax return. Not a bad little income activity for offering services to tradies. And he tells me he's done no advertising. It's all been word of mouth. SMEs who do not have a business health check system. How many of you got those? How many of those? 10, 20, 100? How many do you think you could? And all you need to start with is 1 or 2 people in each of these categories, because they will start talking. Or you can run a webinar and say, well, we've already done 3 tradie charge out rate calculators, so we're open for business. We're helping tradies. Businesses who are offering credit. Well, a lot of them do that, don't they? Have they got debtors management systems? Do you know what sort of system they've got? Perhaps you should have a look. And then go back and do a bit of a pitch to them. And within ESS BizTools, we've got resources to help you do those sort of pitches. How many clients are tinkering with research and development? And some of them will be doing it when they're a sole trader or in a partnership. And unfortunately, they cannot claim the research and development special rebates. But they need someone to knock on the door or pat them on the shoulder and tell them these things. Because I've come across some people who were very, very cranky that they were not made aware of these situations. In one particular case, over $250,000 had been spent on what the business thought was research and development to claim the research and development benefit. But it was a partnership. Couldn't claim it. They weren't very happy. So the key components of the advisory intro package that we're talking to you about today. It's designed to assist you to be able to deliver these services. So team training to deliver advisory services. Packages which will help you get your team ready. So the business advisory services training package, it's 13 modules. You can go through the whole thing in a bit over a day. A lot of firms take about an hour a week, so 13 weeks, they work their way through it. But you can do it a lot quicker. Depends how many you got in your team. If you only got 1 or 2, it's a lot easier. And the SME needs analysis. This is a document originally developed by FMRC, which with Andrew Geddes' permission, we have modified it over the years. We've got 3 separate versions of it. But basically, it raises discussion points for you to, over that cup of tea or coffee or maybe that nice wine, when you're having your discussion with the client, it gives you some matters to keep on suggesting to them. Are they happy with the gross profit percentage? I've had situations where I've gone in with people when we're doing this and I've had questions, well, how do you calculate the gross profit percentage? It's true, I'm telling you. And I say, gee, but clients weren't educated and all this type of thing, but and at times they're reluctant to ask the question, how do you calculate it? So the SME needs analysis helps you do that. And then the promotional services, the all-important communication, the Business Plus newsletter I've referred to before. But then we've got a library, 320 papers that you'll get access to. Our full library's 580 papers, but for this package, you've got 320 papers covering about 60 different subject headings. Starting a business, what records are kept, defining the differences between different types of entities, discretionary trust, unit trust, unlisted public companies, private company, all those sort of details that people might be interested in. Badge them with your name, send them to your clients. Client mentoring and coaching modules. There's 6 of those that you've got access to, which will help you communicate with your clients. These are the sort of services we can offer. Client seminars, ready to produce. Would you like to do a bit of this? Present the seminars. We've prepared them for you. You're gonna do the presentation. I had someone that wanted to say if they could use one of mine. I said, no, your client wants to see you talking to them. That's very important. They don't want to see me or anyone else that's not part of your firm. They want to see you. You've got to communicate with them. And then the commercial orientated papers, buying a business, debtors management, government grants update. I haven't talked about government grants other than research and development. There's a couple of thousand government grants running around in Australia from the state, territory, and federal government. Research and development introduction, we've talked about that. The debtor systems manual, the tradies charge out rate calculator, and there's more. So are you ready to get started on the delivery of advisory services to help your clients, help overcome these problems that are emerging. Now, the problems, we've got problems in two categories, haven't we? We've got the problems that our clients in SME business are encountering. High interest rates, high inflation, small business failure, the subtle and not so subtle changes coming out of Canberra from the federal government as to how businesses are operated. There's a lot of problems out there in SME land, but there's 2 million SMEs, according to the statistics. So you're ready to get started to help your clients, but also there's something in it for you, of course, if you go back to how I started this presentation. The warnings from the former tax commissioner, Chris Jordan, and the warnings from Mark Wickerson, an Australian chartered accountant who has done very well for himself since 1999 when he redirected. He decided he wasn't going to be a slave to the tax return any longer. And he went to some conferences and become a fan and then an advocate of value pricing and value services. So ready to get started. We've got a special discount offer, which is available until Easter. For 12 months, you get access for only $499, including GST, in this advisory intro package. This is a package designed to get you started if you're not currently involved in offering the type of services we've been talking to you. If you want more advanced products, we definitely have them. But this one will get you started. So all you've got to do is go to www.essbiztools.com.au, click on products and packages, and then click on advisory intro package. And you will then be able to see the package. And if you're ready to subscribe, you just follow the instructions on the form. Thank you. If you have any questions relating to products or services supplied by ESS BizTools, please don't hesitate to contact us. You can send me an email, peter@essbiztools.com.au. We can telephone 0747241118. I think there's some serious challenges that are occurring in the commercial market space that small and medium-sized accountancy and bookkeeping firms service in Australia and possibly in the world. SMEs are in some difficulties. We've got major changes happening at the big end of town from new policies being introduced by the American president, and some of those are going to affect SMEs. It's a time when SMEs need more accounting and advisory input to help them run their businesses. The sort of advisory input that they would receive if they were a wee bit larger, maybe a bit more than a wee bit, but a larger business that had a full-time accountant or chief financial officer working for them. Because that accountant or chief financial officer just doesn't sit there and do profit and loss accounts all day, every day. They do a whole range of costing and business management, commercial advisory type of services. They analyse the figures. They find where the variances have occurred so that the problem can be fixed within a couple of days at the end of a week. A week is a very important reporting milestone for those businesses. So that's the challenge. I hope that you're interested in joining with us. I can't see that we have any questions in chat. I hope that means that I have answered your questions, and I look forward to hearing from you. As I said at the beginning, if you are watching this presentation in your own time or at a time more suitable for your firm and you have any questions, please send me an email, peter@essbiztools.com.au, and we will get back to you with an answer. Or you can ring me if you wish, 0747241118. Have a great day, and I look forward to hearing from you in the not too distant future. Goodbye.